Hi, I'm Lizzie with Dizzy Lizzie Digital, and today we're going to talk about how I became a successful full-time wedding photographer. I didn't really plan this video very well. I don't have any notes or anything that I took, so this is all just coming from the top of my brain. But I feel like nobody really talks about this authentically. And also, I did a YouTube video search to kind of see what would be a few good topics that people often look up as a photographer. And every single video that showed up was a man explaining how they became successful or what they do for wedding preparation as a photographer. And I'm just really tired of seeing the same shit, so here I am. Those of you that know me know that I am an elopement and wedding photographer and videographer based out of currently Denver, Colorado, but will be moving to the East Coast, New Hampshire area in September of 2025. But I'm constantly traveling between the two, so I've recently branded myself as a traveling wedding photographer. I've had weddings in Arizona, in New Mexico, in California, Colorado, New Hampshire. I have some booked for Connecticut next year, Vermont. Super stoked. So, I've also done a wedding in Missouri. Yeah, just everywhere. I'm constantly everywhere all the time. I guess that's a good segue into the first thing that I want to talk about is having a very, very clear brand. I feel like a lot of people don't think that this is important, or they're too nervous to showcase themselves. They're too scared to put their whole heart out there, because the people that are doing photography for all of the right reasons are making art that comes from their heart. I highly recommend taking a moment to figure out why you want to be a wedding photographer. Think about your personality, think about the people that you enjoy being around, the types of people that you would want to work with, and write it down. Get a notebook and kind of jot down the types of people that you want to attract, that you want to work with, and who you are and why you do what you do. So for me, I'm queer, and I'm also Latina. I am non-binary, and I noticed a huge lack of diversity in the wedding space. So that's why I do what I do. The wedding industry is very heteronormative, straight, white facing for the most part. That was a big reason why I shifted my photographic knowledge and focus to doing weddings as opposed to anything else. I was tired of going on websites and seeing the same thing over and over. Wedding photography and videography shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all. There are formulas that people follow where I'm like, what if we just did something a little different? And I genuinely believe that with my brand and with working with queer people and working with artists and working with people that view the world a little differently, celebrating diversity, celebrating inclusivity, I feel like I am channeling those people, the types of people that I want to work with, and the types of people that can be themselves around me and feel safe around me. So that's my why. Your why doesn't have to be the same. What works for me won't work for you, but definitely hone in on branding. When people look at your work, they should be able to feel how you are. And your photos should evoke some kind of emotion that makes people like, wow, I really want to work with this person. They seem really cool. So getting your brand on point is one of the number one things I recommend. Second, that kind of goes hand in hand with having a brand, is get a website, a legitimate website. All of this stuff takes money, So if you need to save up for a while by working a part-time job, or if you're still at your full-time job, that's okay. I used to work at a coffee shop before I decided to send it full-time with photography last year. Was that last year? It was 2 years ago. It was the fall of 2023. I decided, like, I'm just gonna send it and hope for the best. And it has worked out phenomenally. I feel like it's easier to take big chances like that when you don't have a backup plan. But I used to work at a coffee shop, and they were really awesome about working with me. I started at 4 days, which was full-time, and then I went down to 3, and then I went down to 2, and then I was like, y'all, I gotta go. Look, I'm too tired. And that was all just because I worked for such an awesome company. Check out Rivers and Roads Coffee in Denver if you've never been. They're all gluten-free. They have a lot of gluten-free pastries, and they are owned by the nicest, kindest people I've ever met, Mike and Des. So definitely was really lucky. I was really, really lucky to have had that job while I was transitioning into becoming full-time with photography. And there's no shame in having a part-time job. You can still be a full-time wedding photographer and have a part-time job or a side gig for extra money. I respect the hustle. Back to getting a website. Make sure that you have a website that's like, mine is DizzyLizzieDigital.com. It's straight to the point. People know where to find me. They know how to find me. I wouldn't utilize the free websites because to clients and potential clients, that screams amateur, and that's okay. And I know that it costs money, and I know that it takes time, but like, work that part-time job or your current full-time job and save up money. Businesses, legitimate businesses, take a lot of time and money to start up. So don't be so hard on yourself if you can't get a website right now. But a monthly website subscription can be anywhere from like $30 to $50. Start outlining your priorities. Like, take this shit seriously. A lot of people think it's just like picking up a camera and taking pretty pictures, but it's so much more than that, especially for the people that you're working with. And don't just do this for the money. I know so many people that do wedding photography just because, like, oh, it pays the bills. But if you're not putting your passion and your heart and your love into your art, people are going to be able to see that, and you're fucking with people's wedding day and like their memories from their day. If you're not putting your full heart and soul into documenting people's love stories, and you're just doing it for money, you're going to realize really quickly that that's not very feasible or stable long term. Highly recommend, number 1, branding. Get your branding on point. Whether you want to focus on non-traditional people and couples, or if you want to be a safe space for the queer community, if you want to work with people that are down to go on 5-mile hikes for their wedding day, if you want to travel, all of that, figure that out first. Even down to the nitty-gritty of what kind of personality does the couple or the people that I'm working with, what kind of personality do they have? Are they super outgoing? Are they nice and chill? Are they super quirky, weird? Get down to like the very specifics. What do they do for work? One thing for me is I notice I work really well with other artists, and that's like my favorite types of people to work with, people that love creating, whether it's knitting or crocheting or painting or wood burning, so many things. Definitely, number 1, branding, who you want to work with, why you're doing what you're doing. And number 2, get a website, a legitimate website. Maybe I'll do 5 points of things that you should do to be one step closer to becoming a successful full-time wedding photographer. Anyway, number 3, legitimize your business. So sign up with your state to be an LLC or a sole proprietor. I am an LLC. It just works out better for me to be an LLC. But that way, when people Google you, they can find out if your business is in good standing with the state in which it was created, if you pay your taxes, if you do all of the legal stuff. That way people know, okay, this person is responsible. I can trust them with my money because wedding photography and videography is not cheap. And I've seen so many people get scammed, specifically on Facebook. Somebody will say, I'll photograph your wedding for $500 for 8 hours. But these people are like, wow, that's such a great deal. But they don't do the research to find out that that person has only been photographing for 1 month, that that person only has one camera with one memory card slot, that that person has never actually photographed a wedding before. So legitimizing your business will take you a long way and take you very far and give you that credibility that you need, especially if you're just starting out. Setting the foundation to have a successful business starts with making sure that your business is legitimate and that you're paying your taxes, and that when people Google you, it's like, oh, look, they're registered with the state of Colorado. Don't gotta worry about that. It just adds that extra security blanket for the people that you're gonna work with. Number 4, I highly recommend working on your SEO. That means when you're entering the description of a photo, use keywords of how you think people would find you. So a lot of people type in queer wedding photographer into Google and then I pop up. Or LGBTQ plus photographer in Denver and I pop up. Or travel wedding videographer, I pop up. Keywords like that are so important to have scattered throughout your website, but I definitely recommend taking a course on SEO so that you can learn even more specifically for you how to market yourself and how to set up your website so that it does most of the work for you. Facebook ads don't work for me. I actually have only ever tried once a long time ago before I kind of knew what I was doing and I just didn't like it. I also have found out and figured out over the years that my ideal client does not come from Facebook. Very rarely does somebody say they were referred by a Facebook post or somebody on Facebook where our values align and where we are going to be on the same page of what working with me entails. Google ads are super helpful. People always go onto Google and type in whatever they're looking for. Same with Pinterest. Pinterest goes hand in hand with SEO. Just putting in the effort to be consistent. Be super consistent with your SEO and it will grow and it will build, but it also takes time. I always tell people that SEO is a long game thing. So if you're looking for instant gratification or success via SEO, that's not gonna happen. I wish it was just like, oh, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and because I made my website yesterday, I'm gonna get a bunch of inquiries tomorrow. It's like a snowball effect and you have to give it time to like build up, you know? And number 5 is investing in education. So many people do these like hoity-toity mentorships. Mentorships? That's a kind of hard word to say. People do a lot of these like mentorships with people that don't know the actual technicalities of photography. And it's cool if you want to be an Instagram photographer or if you want to be like an influencer, but that's not why I do what I do. I don't have a huge Instagram following. I don't have a huge TikTok following. I don't have a huge Facebook following. I just post what I like and what I feel like speaks for me and for my business and for my art. And if people want to follow me or if they find me via SEO on Google, good shit. I am stoked. I'm more than happy with that. And that's how most people have been finding me lately, is through a Google search. I'm having such a hard time talking today. Is through a Google search. Maybe I need more coffee. I feel like I'm very tired. Invest in education. I don't recommend a lot of mentorships from photographers that have only been in business for 1 or 2 years because most of the time they're not going to know the technicalities. They're not going to have the knowledge or experience of starting with film photography. Like I started with film years and years and years ago, like 15 years ago. When I was in high school, I went to college for photography, learned even more, learned how to develop my own film. Little things that just help grow your brain to have a successful business. If somebody is offering mentorships and all that they're doing is telling you how to edit your photos, then you're not really learning much. It takes practice. You have to do so much of the work first, but having an educational platform or even just a course, whether that's through somebody that is credited online or somebody at a community college, whatever photography class that you can find, any education you can find, do it, invest in it. I don't find it helpful to invest in mentorships with people that are just trying to show you how to get more followers on Instagram. That doesn't feel authentic to me, and that feels very like, why are you doing this? Is it to get more followers on Instagram? Like, go off, but that's not good practice for a sustainable business, especially if you're wanting to be full-time or that's your dream goal. Like, I have always wanted to be a professional photographer, and I fucking made it happen. The only person that can make it happen is you. And one way to be more legitimate and have people trust you with a very important day in their life, documenting their day especially, is through education. The more you know about art and the more that you know about photography and the more that you know about whatever it is that you're trying to do, the more that you establish authority, and people will come to you with their questions, and people will come to you with their hearts, just like, I want you to photograph my day. I want you to be the videographer for my day. And once they work with you, they'll tell their friends, like, yeah, this was who did my wedding and it was really, really cool and they were awesome to work with. I definitely recommend getting educated, and legitimately educated, not just like, here's how to make your website look pretty, or here's how to make your Instagram look pretty, or things that don't matter in the long run. A lot of stuff you can figure out by yourself. You just have to put in the work to figure out how to do it by yourself. And that's why I wanted to make this video, so that people would have a baseline of like, oh, I should be focusing on this and starting with this as a good launching point. But it goes so much deeper than everything that I'm saying in this video, which is why I offer mentorships to go more in detail and more in depth personally, one-on-one, instead of a one-size-fits-all, because it is not a one-size-fits-all. What worked for the biggest photographer in your area might not work for you, and honestly probably won't. What I'm saying here isn't going to make you an automatic overnight success, but I was just really tired of hearing all of the same types of dudes be like, it's all about your gear, it's all about whatever, being a man, I don't know. When that's just not the case at all. It starts with your heart, it starts with your brain, with your creativity, and how you formulate that into something that people are looking forward to. So definitely get that branding on point, so when people see your name, they're like, I know who that is, or I know what they stand for, I know what their thing is. For me, I specialize in film, so Super 8, 120 medium format, 35 millimeter, because it ties into the vintage aesthetic that I showcase. I freaking love collecting vintage things and watching things about vintage things. It doesn't even have to just pertain to photography, but I collect vintage cameras. And people know that about me, that have just found me on the internet, because I showcase that vintage aesthetics are important to me. My saying, my phrase is art for artists and vintage lovers. And that encompasses most of the people that I end up working with. Most of the time they're queer, but not every time. I actually think every wedding I have booked for 2026 is straight, heterosexual, which is cool. But it's nice because those people know who I am, and they're more than okay with me being queer. They're supporting a queer business. They're supporting a minority. And I think that that's really fucking cool, and those are the types of people that I want to work with. Definitely get your branding on point. Get a website, a legitimate website. Even if it sucks at first, just something to showcase your work and who you are. definitely working on SEO, working on education and everything that entails. I feel like I'm always missing something and I can't remember. The downfall of not writing it down. Anyway, check me out on Instagram at DizzyLizzieDigital or DizzyLizzieDigital.com, my website. Feel free to look around at like what I'm doing. Don't copy people. Find what's in your heart, and you can be inspired by people, but there's no need to try to be exactly like somebody else. And don't give up. Oh, the part-time job. That's the other one. If you need to work another job, there is no shame in that. Sometimes I still work at that coffee shop for extra fun money is usually what I call it, but that fun money goes towards my music bed subscription that's $80 a month or my Adobe Suite subscription, you know? So no shame in the freaking game, just not giving up. If there's anything that I want you to leave with after watching this video, it's to just not give up and find what works for you. And reach out to me if you have questions, because you're doing the work and not because you want an easy answer. Yeah! Okay, I think that's all. I love you guys. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please, so I can have more motivation to keep doing these, because doing this today was really difficult. I did not want to. And hit me up if you want a mentorship. I'm thinking about doing a mentorship for a super minimal amount of money in comparison to a lot of other people, just because I want to teach people more, which is the whole reason why I made this YouTube channel. So, or why I started making these videos. Yeah, hit me up about it, email me, go on my website, whatever, and let's work something out. Okay, I love you guys. Bye!